just wanted to say that the physical release of my webcomic Unfamiliar is up for pre-order right now. Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne. And today I wanted to talk about AI image generation and what would happen if you asked an artificial intelligence to create an original character. So AI image generation is basically when an artificial intelligence piece of software will select a bunch of images, usually from the internet, based on keywords that you put in, and combine them in such a way that they kind of create a new image out of the pieces and information it's finding. Some of them work better than others, and they work in different ways, but basically today I wanted to try to force the robot to make an OC. 3 OCs actually. And then I wanted to take all of those AI generated creations and make like a little story that I draw myself with my simple human hands. So that's the kind of prompt for this video. So first things first, we need a main character. I decided for my prompt I was going to type in original character. And for this one I use the dall-e mini. I believe it's called Crayon Now or something. I originally recorded this aspect of the video a little bit earlier. After it was done thinking, it came up with this. It gives you an array of 9 options, and they're all like unilaterally very anime inspired, and there's a lot of like ponytails and like bikinis, it looks like. I decided to continue with the theme of letting computers decide everything and use a random number generator to decide which one of these fine ladies would be the one that we draw, and it selected 5, which is the center one. Now, she looks kind of terrifying, honestly. Her eyes are really strange and lopsided, and her one thigh is extremely skinny and has something sticking out of it. But yeah. Generally, at first I was like kind of feeling like this wasn't going to work because I felt like the characters just look so much like just like a messed up artificial intelligence version of like an anime girl. But then I realized actually they're super cute monster girls. That's what we're going to turn them into instead. So for our first character, I really wanted to lean into her like slightly different eyes. I ended up giving her bangs because I can't see past the like top of her eyes. It just sort of cut off there. And I had to make a few executive decisions about her outfit. It definitely looks like her whole chest is out, but there isn't any kind of like, you know, like nipple or anything. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I guess they're just like kind of low. And this very, very slim top is covering just enough, I suppose. I hope this video doesn't get demonetized by this robot's weird proclivity for bellies and thighs and chests. And then I basically just tried to take the things that were like just scraps of nonsense information, like the stuff around the edge of her ponytail, and tried to turn that into something. I actually made it into like a little yellow bow that's hanging off one of her pigtails. It's a very strange hairstyle, I'm not gonna lie, but it does technically make sense, I suppose. And one thing I was really interested in while I was working on this was the fact that it did kind of have a cohesive color scheme. She's mainly dressed in like monochrome, like gray, with little pops of yellow, and then we see some accents of like a deeper purple in her eyes and little pieces of her hair and stuff. So I wanted to try to honor all of that. She definitely looks interesting. She kind of looks like a android girl, like parts of her are missing or need to be adjusted or something. And she has a very extreme body type. She's very hourglassy, and this kind of tells you something interesting about like basically what information the computer is seeing. Like the words original character are like more often than not like summoning like an anime girl with pigtails in a bikini, it seems like. And the thigh highs were extremely common too. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I don't have a problem necessarily with skimpy clothed characters or anything, but it is really interesting to see that like that is the thing that was like strong enough to get through all of the digital clutter and become the main image. I think it's really funny too that the artificial intelligence saw all these anime faces with the big dark eyes and the tiny little nose and mouth, and we're like, I think the nose and mouth are unnecessary completely, so she just doesn't have even a hint of a nose or mouth. So yeah, this is how she turned out. Now time to make her a friend who will be the supporting character. And for this, I used the prompt myOC. This one actually had radically different results. So on this one, the generator gave us 9, which gives us the last one, which is cut off in the recording. Sorry, I'll put it back. So the interesting thing about what myOC gave us is it generally gave us characters that are like a little bit stockier proportion. There's definitely more of like a cartoony vibe rather than an anime vibe. And there was a lot more like diversity in the faces. It seemed like for original character, we were almost exclusively getting these sort of pseudo anime faces that had pretty much no nose or mouth, and then these like black voids where the eyes were. But when we put in myOC, the colors were like all over the place, and we even got some characters with faces like this one where there's like a cyclops, like the facial structure was completely different. I'm actually really glad that the random number generator selected this one because I thought it was very cute. She almost looks like she's like a druid or something. She's like made out of wood, and she has this really interesting cyclops eye, and her hair is like actually like kind of an interesting texture too. Her outfit's pretty boring, like it just looks very plain, and the characters who were generated with myOC had like a lot simpler outfits, it seems like. I think original character was pulling up some more like I don't even know how to describe it, like sci-fi anime kind of aesthetic looks that are usually like very detailed dense, whereas myOC is bringing up things that are like a bit more plain. So her shirt looks like very normal, and then she's wearing like gaucho pants or something. I thought she looked kind of sweet. I ended up giving her a mouth, even though technically I know she doesn't actually have one. But I was really I was really craving a facial expression on at least one of these girls. And I think that she looks kind of sweet. Also, you could kind of see a line. I think it's really just like the weird wood texture that her skin has for some reason. But you could kind of say it looks like a mouth, so I'm just giving myself a pass on this one. They look like they're going to be very good friends and rely on each other. I got the sense that the first character is more of like the agile, active one, even though her hands are missing. Which, oh, that was the other funny thing, is like the myOC ones, a lot of them didn't have hands, or their hands were like hidden, which I think is so relatable. But anyway, yeah, hands are missing a lot or extremely messed up. In original character, that prompt, there was also like a lot of like duplicated limbs and legs. In particular, there were so many of the options that actually had like 3 or 4 legs instead of just the typical 2. So she has these little like sweater paws that actually makes her lack of hands not look so insane, because you can just kind of assume that they're in there on the sleeve. And she has more of a like peaceful demeanor, I feel like. The original character one is like actually a little creepy, like when you look right into her eyes, it's like a little bit scary. But this one honestly looks completely fine. Like if I just glanced at it, I wouldn't even necessarily think that it was like generated from an AI image generator. But anyway, that's how our secondary character turned out. Last up, I wanted to create a villain, like a central antagonist to have behind the girls being scary and intimidating. And when I typed in villain, it came up with these like bizarrely, I don't know, it has like a very retro kind of action figure-y vibe. Everything's very sharp and there's a lot more green than I was expecting. Speaking of villains, I should mention that this type of AI image generation has a lot of controversy around it, partially because there are people who make art on these AI image generators and then submit them to contests or try to sell them. There are artists who are concerned they'll be put out of a job, and then there are other artists who are concerned, and this is the primary issue, with the fact that a lot of their work is actually being used in these programs, and like pieces of their actual hard work are being used without credit to make like NFTs and all kinds of stuff that they probably don't want anything to do with, and at very least would want to be credited for. And this was something that was very sharply sort of shown to me when I was trying to test out another image generator. I didn't end up going with this one, even though it does give like nicer looking results. I find that it has very limited in what it can actually do, and it really requires you to like have a output that you like specifically want, like cyberpunk or like a medieval painting or something. But when I made a cyberpunk original character, with it. This is what showed up, and if you look at the bottom right of the screen, you can see where the AI has scribbled in some lines where surely a bunch of signatures and watermarks from the original artists whose work is being used to make this image tried to make sure that they would get credit for their work, and the AI has just sort of like scrambled it and wiped it out completely. And I think that that is a very sharp example of the potential problems with this technology, but there's a lot of fun to be had with it as well. It's just something to keep in mind about this new technology. So this villain was way outside my comfort zone, I should say. His like super narrow face and chin is just so not what I usually draw. But he ended up looking quite good with the other two characters, which really surprised me. I didn't know anything about what was going on below his sort of like chest plate and shoulder thing, and then he had this like weird flowing, I don't know if it was like a cape or hair, it seems to be coming down from his helmet, but I decided to just make it this like shadowy dark hair. I just thought it looked kind of cool, and then I just gave him a cape that goes all around for all the parts of his body that I couldn't see, just so that it's not too obtrusive and didn't change much of the design. And then I sort of arranged them around each other, and I thought for the background I should just make a generated background, because that's a very popular way for people to use this technology. Backgrounds are tough. I just made a short on how to make backgrounds a little easier, but this is certainly easier than that. Once I popped it in there, I just put a little like fake title so it would look more like promotional art for some kind of movie. And then I even threw up some awards for this fictitious movie. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I will be at the Strand bookstore in New York City next week. I hope to see some of you guys there. I'll be signing copies of the newly released physical edition of my webcomic Unfamiliar. And if you can't go there, don't worry, you can still pre-order the book. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you to my wonderful patrons, including CZ Art, Finn Must Die, Frankie Valerie, Solar System, Live, Naomi, Salty Jackrabbit, Fukuroko, Noose Milk, Raven's Crow, Zocelot, T-Hill Music, Jabber Dabber Doo, Gender Was Stolen, it's Jamal, Kay, Moo Milk, Kadaria, Deadly Nightshade Art, Astral Fox Art, Lily Allure, The Expressive Poker Face, Tsubaki, Michael Lavalley, Cutie Pie, Ruin Raincrow, Rainwater Pearls, Ice Cream Pal, Cola, JJ Jade, and of course, blah 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 blah.